Hello, and how are you today, peeps and peoples? I hope that you can hear me. I did a whole live um, earlier and nothing taped. So I was like distraught. And then I had a Zoom meeting at 8 o'clock and they're still going for it, but I had to jump off. So, what is this about? They say they are afraid. They are threatened. So come on, don't be fearful. That is my thing. Who are they? Who are they? They are the congressional, primarily repubs. That's who is saying that they are afraid, that they have been, their lives have been threatened. But I believe it's a little more mixed in there. It's not just about their lives have been threatened. I think they have always that someone has threatened to also reveal some things that they have done or that would put them in an unfavorable light and almost like quote unquote the blackmail. Yes. So I think it's a little bit more than just oh, well, that's bad enough that their lives being threatened. But I think it's just a little bit more than that they're not really saying. And what is happening is that this information is, being shared or known among some of the other um, congressional representatives, because some are saying that there are Republicans who want to do what's right, who wanted to do what was right. They wanted to actually vote for their constituents this last bill, but then they got a call, and that call caused them to change their vote to pass that bill in the House, which is very disheartening. And so what can we do about this? What can we do about this? Well, I just want to talk about this because this matters. This is Monday Matters, and this matters. So, when addressing the threat to lawmakers and upholding the democracy, the public should be aware. So, constituents, they can urge their representatives to publicly condemn any form of intimidation or threats, regardless of the source. I don't care if it came from the Tin Man, the Orange Man, the Green Man, the Muskie Man, because silence can be interpreted as if you are complacent and like, oh, well, that's serious. The constituents should also encourage lawmakers to hold themselves and their colleagues accountable for fostering a culture of respect and safety. Another thing is report these threats. I want to know, why aren't the threats being reported? I do understand that you all feel that they have put in people that probably won't do anything with the report or go and tell, blah blah, that you made this report and it's a threat that was geared towards that individual, but coming from, the muskie or the orange man. And so I believe that the hesitation, maybe fear of escalation, they may worry that reporting threats could lead to further intimidation or violence, possibly. Also, they may feel there's political repercussions that somebody going to hold their um, purse strings and not get the money that they was promised, or or the assistance in their reelection. But what they're going to have to understand is that the more all these things start playing out and harming their constituents, guess what? That means that the constituents are going to be the ones coming after you, and the ones that could possibly get you voted out. So now it's going to be a head to head of, do I believe that my constituents could possibly vote me out, or can the man help me and with whatever shenanigans to keep me in my position, or how are they going to get me, if I actually work for the people that voted me in this position. So I understand that they may fear the backlash from their party or the base, if they are seen as going against this powerful figure, but also the powerful figure trying to do some political shenanigans against them. And in some cases, threats have become so common that they are seen as unavoidable part of the political life. So, which is also troubling. So, but if I am being threatened, harassed, um, I'm going to report it to someone. And work with the Capitol Police. Even if you feel the Capitol Police, the FBI, the CIA, or whatever has already been bought or won't do anything, at least you put it on paper. Even if the paper get lost, have your copy so that you can say that you took this measure. Encourage your lawmakers to do that. Another thing is to strengthen institutional safeguards. So push for bipartisan efforts to strengthen protections for lawmakers who face threats or intimidation. And then if threats are coming from within the government, the executive branch, the made up agencies, constituents can call for ethics investigations or other formal inquiries to address the behavior. If that means going straight to Congress to say, you all need to investigate, because if you all know that some of these other agencies are compromised, then you still can go to Congress. You know, another thing is mobilize constituent pressure. So I'm telling you, the Palm people, now that this is affecting you, see, the first go round that he was in office, it really didn't affect you all. But now it's affecting you, your family members, your friends, your neighbors on a on many levels. Your businesses, your own livelihood, um, your children, your food, everything. Okay, it's now hitting you all. Boom. So now you all can start organizing letter writing campaigns, showing up to these town halls like you all are doing, do your demonstrations, show widespread support, and foremost for the lawmakers that are prioritizing you as their constituents over partisan pressures and threats and intimidation. Then also, you can use social media to amplify the message that intimidation and threats are unacceptable and that the constituents expect their representatives to act with integrity, with courage, and push back, push back, and stand strong and get a spine to say, no, homie, don't play that. You are not going to intimidate me. You're not going to stop me from representing and being on the side of my constituents, because that's who voted me in and that's who I work for. Then we also need to encourage constituents to stay informed and vote for candidates who demonstrate the courage, the integrity, the ethics, and those who will not succumb to this intimidation, these intimidation tactics, and publicly support and defend the lawmakers who do stand up to these threats and prioritize your interests so that the others can see, yeah, we're going to stand behind this one because they said we not going to take it. No, we not going to take it. We're not going to take it anymore. So once they see the constituents are standing strong with the ones that have the courage to fight and the wherewithal to say, you can threaten me all day long. You can try to intimidate me all day long, but it's not going to work. Now is the time that we have to let them start playing checkers and we play chess. So that's another thing. And then one major thing is constituents can demand that political leaders, including the top folks, tone down inflammatory rhetoric. Call out this toxic rhetoric that incites the violence or the threats. And definitely advocate for a return to civil discord. And I know that sounds like a fantasy or a fairy tale because the state that we're in, you talk about civil discourse with all the alternative facts, with all the misinformation, with all the lies, the made up stuff, the just stuff pulled out the air, pulled out the behind everywhere that is just not true. Civil discourse is like a dream. And right now we feel we're in a nightmare because I believe with civil discourse, disagreements are resolved through debate and compromise rather than threats or fears. But that doesn't seem to be the course of the day. The entrees are threats and the dessert is fear. So what we need to do is change the diet. Okay? We got to change the diet. And as constituents, you have to demand action. Let your representatives know that yes, their safety and integrity matters and that you expect them to make reports about this and stand up for what's right. You got to stand up for what's right and then support any whistleblowers that are high and low. Encourage that to happen, but let them know that you are standing behind them. I saw one um, town hall where a man was standing and he told his representative who stood for what was right and said, "Hey, you say go, we going. We're not talking about no J6 stuff, but we are going to let you know we stand behind you. We will walk behind you. We will walk beside you." So he even said, if you get arrested, then we will get arrested. I mean, that is what a lot of these representatives need to know. You need to flood their phones, flood their emails, and let them know, hey, you got to do what's right by me. I put you in this position because I believe that you had integrity, that you had courage, that you had ethics, and that you would do right by me. But right now, you showing me that you ain't doing nothing right. So we're not going to say nothing, honey. We're going to say, yes, honey, do the right thing. So uh, let's look at the thing is that, oh, you all, a phone call is making you turn around and do something that you know is harming your constituents. Where is your spine? You need to find it, or if you don't have one, ask them to put a rod in your back so you can stand straight and stand up for your constituents. Hey, there are many of other representatives in Congress that are and have and was receiving threats on their own lives, their family lives. We can talk about even during the time when the first go around after the J6, think about Liz Cheney. She went against her party. She got a lot of backlash from her party. And she said, I would do everything I can to ensure that at that time the former president never again gets anywhere near the Oval Office. But I am sorry that did not work. But oh well. But she tried. Okay. Then let's think about um Adam Kinzinger. Okay. And he said, I think it's important to tell the truth. I think it's important to stand up for what's right, even if it's not popular. And Now this is interesting. The lady Murkowski. Now that is, I think that's who I was talking about the other day, who had her town hall, and they asked her, did she know about 2025 and what was her stand on the ACA, the Affordable Care Act. One of her constituents was a breast cancer survivor. So if they do all that they plan on doing with the ACA, pre-existing conditions, you will not be able to get that insurance any longer. She kept bouncing around, jumping around, swinging on the monkey bars. Wouldn't say after 50,000 trillion times what her actual stance was. Then they said, have you read 2025? Because this is the playbook. Oh, and she said, no, I haven't read 2025, which I believe is a little fib. I believe that's a fib. And I'm just saying, that's what I believe, that that's a fib. How can you be sitting there in Congress? This is all over the place, and now you're seeing 2025 play out. And she was like, no, I didn't read it. And they was like, well, I think you need to read it. So stuff like that. But this is what tripped me out. This is what she said a while in 2022. If I can't say what I believe that my state needs to hear, then I shouldn't be in this job. So you can't say where you stand based on what your state and those constituents in that meeting needed to hear. So what does that say? You said you shouldn't be in this job. Think about that. Okay, and then we also have um, Fred Upton. Even though he retired, he did vote for after the J6 for impeachment. And he said, I've never been threatened more in my life than I have been in the last couple of weeks. And that was in 2022. Another situation or person who has been getting a lot of threats, and even a lot of Democrats and everything. How about Jamie Raskin? Jamie Raskin, who also was a cancer survivor, lost his son tragically just days after the J6 situation. Stressful, stressful, but he remained steadfast, advocating for democracy and accountability. And his quote was, we are fighting for the survival of American democracy. And he's still fighting. And he's got a lot of death threats and things, but now some of the people who would have been doing all this is kind of waking up, and the light, they said the light bulb is going off, and some are seeing the light. And I just hope they continue down the pathway with of the light. Where the light is, keep going down that pathway where you see the light, okay? And also we can talk about uh Jay Appel, okay? And she has faced threats and harassment, including a protest outside her own home by right wing extremists. Okay. And she said, we cannot let fear stop us from fighting for what we believe in, and believing in her constituents and continuing to fight. Man, they was at her doorstep, at her doorstep. So what is up with you all who stating, oh, I'm getting threats or whatever? These people was at this woman's doorstep. Okay. And what happened? She still said, I'm going to fight. What about Hakeem Jeffries? But I still need to talk about him because I need to know. I can't, I'm not hearing enough chatter. I'm not seeing enough movement, or him or the DNC. I need to understand. But anyway, he said, we will not back down in the face of intimidation. Okay. I need to, okay, make that be more of a reality for me, sir. And then we also have Sheila Jackson, who, God rest her soul. We must stand strong in the face of hate and fear. And of course, Jasmine Crockett, who is pressing. She is very vocal, unapologetically vocal. She has been targeted because she's also a woman of color. So she has faced disproportionate levels of harassment and threats of her life, of her livelihood, of everything. But she has said, I didn't come to Congress to be quiet. I came to fight for my constituents, and no amount of hate or intimidation will stop me. Okay. And she also said, we have to address the toxicity in our politics. Threats and harassment have no place in a democracy. And so she's still pushing and she all over the place, letting people know where she stand. So I am saying, constituents, especially the palm people, okay, the white people, the middle class, now that it is hitting you hard, and even some of the MAGA who are w- seeing the light, you all need to get on the phones. You all need to email. You all now can make the difference. You all have to step up and do what you should have done. But also, I'm going to roll this back again to say, like I said the other day, you now have to look in the mirror at yourself and you have to say to yourself and be honest with yourself on why you voted for someone who had a platform of vitriol and hate and racism. What is deeply rooted in you that you will ignore all of that, which is, especially if you're saying you a Christian and we're supposed to be looking after the marginalized. When Jesus said, when I was hungry, you didn't feed me. When I was in jail, you didn't come visit me. Woe unto those who scatter sheep. Woe unto those who do harm to children. And now things are being pulled away for the children, the widows. I need you to stop. Stop right now and be honest and dig deep. And some of it ain't so deep. It's kind of on surface. And be honest with yourself on what your true intention and what really drove you to fall into the MAGA cult or to go and vote the way you did. And then push forward. Heal, cry, ask for forgiveness, do what you got to do, pray, but then go and act. We need you to show action. Have a great evening, and Monday Matters is done.